Picture this. It is 1950. You just got home from work. You sit down in your living room and you flip on the television. That big glowing box in the corner of the room that your neighbors have been talking about for 2 years. And you know what? You paid less than $100 for it, at a time when most TVs cost 4 times that. So who do you have to thank for that? A man in a Napoleon hat, a man they called Madman. And today I am going to tell you exactly how he pulled it off and why it all came crashing down. This is the story of Earl Muntz. And trust me, it is one of the wildest rides in American business history. Earl William Muntz was born in 1914 in Elgin, Illinois. From the very beginning, this kid was not wired like everyone else. At just 8 years old, he built his own radio from scratch. By the time he was 14, he had built one for his parents' car. Not repaired one, built one, from the ground up. And then at 15, right in the middle of the Great Depression, he dropped out of high school to go work in his family's hardware store. But Earl Muntz did not stay put for long. In 1934, at just 20 years old, he opened his very first used car lot in Elgin. He had $400 to his name, a line of credit, and one small problem. He was too young to legally sign the paperwork himself, so his mother had to sign every single deal he closed. Every one. And still, the lot was a success. Then he looked west, and everything changed. He discovered that used cars fetched far higher prices in California than they did in Illinois. So in 1940, he packed up and moved to Glendale, California, and opened a new lot. He started buying cars in the Midwest and paying servicemen who were stationed in California $50 each to drive them across the country. Route 66, town by town, lot by lot. It was a smart hustle, and it worked. But Earl Muntz needed more than just a good deal to stand out. He needed a personality. So he invented one. He called himself Madman Muntz. He wore outrageous costumes on television commercials, he made wild promises, and he came up with one of the most memorable slogans in American advertising history. I buy them retail, sell them wholesale. It's more fun that way. He would advertise a car as the special of the day and claim that if it did not sell by sundown, he would smash it to pieces on camera with a sledgehammer. Guys like Bob Hope and Jack Benny were cracking Madman Muntz jokes on the radio. His used car lot in Los Angeles was, at one point, ranked the 7th most visited attraction in all of Southern California. Not the 7th best car lot, the 7th most visited attraction in the whole region. People were not coming to buy cars. They were coming to see the show, and that show was just getting started. By 1946, Muntz had turned his attention to something new: televisions. At the time, a TV set was a luxury item, the kind of thing that only doctors and lawyers had in their homes. Most Americans could not come close to affording one. Muntz saw that gap and decided to do something about it in a way that was completely unique to him. He started taking television sets apart, literally pulling them apart, component by component. If the picture still held after he removed a part, he tossed it aside. If the set went dark or the sound dropped out, he put the part back in. This process became so well known that engineers actually gave it a name. They called it Muntzing. And through Muntzing, he brought a typical television set down from 30 vacuum tubes to just 17 without losing a watchable picture. The result was a TV that he could sell for $99.95. Under $100. It became one of the best-selling consumer items in the entire country. Oh, and one more thing. Do you know why we call it a TV and not a television? Some people credit Earl Muntz with that too. He was using skywriters to advertise his sets above Los Angeles, and the pilots could not finish spelling out Muntz televisions before the letters started fading in the sky. So he shortened it to TV. He loved the abbreviation so much that he literally named his daughter TV Muntz. So Muntz had the car business running, the TV business booming, and a persona that made him one of the most recognized faces in California. But a man like Earl Muntz could not just sit still. He had to go bigger. In 1951, he bought the manufacturing rights to a sports car design from Indianapolis race car builder Frank Curtis. He took that two-seat racer, redesigned it, stretched it into a four-seater, added a padded dashboard, seat belts, and for good measure, a wet bar in the back seat. He called it the Muntz Jet. It was one of the most glamorous cars on the American road in the early 1950s. Only 394 were ever made. Celebrities bought them, but there was a problem. He was selling each one for $5,500, and it was costing him more than that to build every single one. He was losing money on every car that rolled out the door. And that is a pattern that would start to define what came next. By the mid-1950s, the television market was shifting. Color television was arriving, and consumers wanted something new. Sales at Muntz TV started to fall. His creditors pulled back. In 1955, he was in bankruptcy court, and by 1959, Muntz TV, as he had built it, was gone. But here is the twist. Earl Muntz was not done. In the early 1960s, he stumbled onto something called the Stereo-Pak, an endless loop tape cartridge. He had them manufactured in Japan, licensed music from the major record labels, and created the Muntz Stereo-Pak, a 4-track car stereo system. By 1963, Frank Sinatra had one in his car. So did James Garner, Red Skelton, and Lawrence Welk. A man named Bill Lear got a ride in a car with a Muntz stereo, was so impressed that he went straight to Muntz to sign a deal, and then took the concept home to improve on it. The result of that inspiration was the 8-track tape, one of the most iconic formats in American music history, born in part from a Muntz idea. And he kept reinventing himself until the very end. In 1985, he was the first retailer in America to sell a cellular phone for under $1,000. When Earl Muntz died in June of 1987 at the age of 73, he was still the leading retailer of cellular phones in Los Angeles. Still hustling, still one step ahead. A high school dropout from Elgin, Illinois, who built his own radio at age 8, sold more than $50 million worth of televisions, helped inspire the 8-track tape, and changed the way Americans buy and sell almost everything. That is Madman Muntz, a man who did more with less than almost anyone in American business history, and whose name became a word in the engineering dictionary. Not bad for a kid whose mom had to sign his paperwork. If you enjoyed this one, please subscribe to the channel. I put out new videos every week about the forgotten companies, the wild cards, and the stories that shaped American industry. Hit subscribe, hit the bell, and I will see you in the next one.
City where Richard Anderson lives. A city neither small nor